Okay, so let's start this thing. I'm going to get on here, see if I can. All right, I'm going to try and watch this conversation here. So, let's talk about rapid weight loss. So, there are 3 phases in hyperketosis. The first phase is hyperketosis, rapid weight loss. It lasts for about 40 days. So, for those first 40 days, you have an 8-hour eating window. During those 8 hours, you eat 2 meals, and each of those meals you have 1 serving of protein, 1 serving of fruit, and 3 or more servings of vegetables till you're full. You don't cook with oils or fats or sweeteners except for stevia, and you don't work out in any way that causes inflammation in your body. That's it. It's super simple, and you will lose a lot of weight in hyperketosis. Now, the second phase, phase number 2, is maintenance mode. That's when you go into traditional keto, so it's high fat, low carb. And basically, you'll go find a BMR calculator. It's a basal metabolic rate calculator. Figure out how many calories you should be eating, stay under that. And you split that up, 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% carbs. It's a fairly simple way of eating. It can be anyway. But the priority is to stay within 5 pounds of the weight you just lost. So then, as long as you can, hey Carol, hey Deanna, as long as you can stay within 5 pounds of the weight you just lost, you're going to lock in that weight loss and create a new weight set point. That's the whole deal. That's really what you want, because you don't want to be yo-yo dieting, right? You don't want to be gaining and losing and gaining and losing. You just want to keep it off. While we're on this live, feel free to ask any questions that you have. So that's the first 40 days hyperketo, second 40 days is maintenance mode, and the third phase is really, it's for the rest of your life. It's living intentionally. So when you're living intentionally, this is about creating a big audacious goal for your health and your weight. So that could be, in a few months you have a big photo shoot, a bikini photo shoot, or you want to hike Mount Kilimanjaro, or you want to do an Ironman, something like that. And so then you create a strategy based on what you just learned in hyperketosis about your body in order to do those things. You want something exciting and fun for you to do. Deanna 3, your snake juice recipe is salt, baking soda, and no salt. Do we need magnesium in it like other recipes? If we do need it in the snake juice, where do we get the magnesium from? So magnesium is a little bit more difficult to come by. It would be good to have the magnesium, but not necessary. So there are different ways that you can get magnesium, and they're typically just in supplements that you can buy. So yes, magnesium is good and would be important. It's just a harder thing to get a hold of and to put in your recipe for snake juice. It is not in my recipe for snake juice, however. If you want to get Dr. Berg's electrolytes, it does have magnesium, or Shift or Ultima. They don't work as well on the plan. My snake juice actually works very well to mitigate headaches and cravings and that kind of stuff. So that's a really great question, Deanna. I appreciate that. So those are the 3 phases. And once you move through those 3 phases, well, I guess you can't move through all the way through phase 3, right? Phase 3 will be with you for the rest of your life. That's living intentionally. But once you've moved through phase 1 and then phase 2, you can go back to phase 1 again. If you go through phase 1, most people lose about 30 pounds. I lost 70 pounds. I've had clients lose up to 60 pounds. But it doesn't matter how much weight you lose. If you have more weight to lose, you can always go back to phase 1 after you've done phase 2. You want to do phase 2 no matter what, after you've done phase 1. Don't go longer than 40 days. That'll kill your metabolism. That's not a great idea. And I wouldn't recommend doing phase 2 longer either. There's just no reason. So, yeah. So let's talk about what a day would look like on hyperketosis. Deanna, what do you think is causing the need for a reset so often at the beginning of the phase 1? Is there something else going on in a person's body? I don't know what so often means. I don't know. So in phase 1, typically week 2 or 3, you will have a reset day. You'll have a plateau. A plateau is 2 days in a row where you don't lose any weight. If you have 2 days in a row where you don't lose weight, you have 3 types of reset days that you should do on that third day. It's a water fast day where you just drink liquids, an apple reset day where you eat up to 6 apples throughout the day whenever you're hungry, and a protein reset day where you eat a large steak and an apple for dinner. Those are the 3 types. But the reason you have a plateau is that at the beginning of any diet, mostly you lose inflammation weight. So that's extracellular water weight. Once you lose that weight, you'll lose actually extra water weight that you shouldn't have lost. And so your cells are a little bit more depleted, and they will actually take water back inside of the cells in a very healthy way while you're still losing fat. So what happens is you're losing fat still, but you're going to be gaining water weight, and it's going to kind of even out for a minute, even though you're still losing fat weight. So the plateau is actually an awesome thing to happen. You know that you're still losing fat, but you're gaining water weight in a very healthy way. Once you move past the plateau, now it's mostly fat that you're losing. So you want to get through that plateau. Great question. McJack 8109, do you have any tips and tricks to get 3 cups of veggies in, or is it just choke it down situation? I find it hard to finish. I mean, eat vegetables you like. Figure it out. Figure out what you do like and what you don't like. There should be easier vegetables that make more sense for you that you like. So for me, like I like mushrooms with onions and garlic in a really big way. I like asparagus, and so I keep those handy. And so I'll eat a lot of those. But yeah, you don't have to switch up your vegetables like you do with your proteins. Great question, though. Yeah, don't choke anything down. And anything you cook, you should be using seasonings and make everything taste really delicious. Like, it should taste good. Carol Mabry, what are the 3 supplement brands called? I mean, supplement brands. So if we're talking about snake juice, so fine pink Himalayan salt, baking soda, and no salt or new salt. NO salt or NU salt. Those are the 2 different brands of potassium chloride that I recommend in snake juice, if that's what you're asking, Carol. Dana 3, often meaning more than 3 times in the first 3 weeks. That's fine. That's not often, and you know, plateaus will last between 2 days and 2 weeks. So you could have a plateau for 2 weeks, and that has happened before. Mine lasted for 10 days, where I didn't lose any weight, and I still lost the 70 pounds when I had those, when I had that plateau. Thank you for my questions. You're welcome, Dan 3. McJack 8109. Okay, thanks. There are some veggies I like that I can stick to, but I didn't know if I should vary them. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, you want to vary them just because you don't want to get sick of the same thing. That's why I have the cookbook and HK Living. I want to make sure you guys are getting enough recipes and enough stuff that's really interesting to eat. I love being creative and cooking new foods, so I always want to add those. It's really easy also if you want to make a vegetable stew, take like a beef or a chicken broth and just chop a bunch of vegetables and put it in there, cook it up, make them soft. You can eat that for a snack all day long, and it's a really easy way to eat vegetables. And then if you want for a meal, you can add your protein to it. So yeah, there you go. Let's see, Dan, do you have any issues with skinny girl dressing? Some people say not to use it. Yeah, there are some issues with it. So there are a couple skinny girl dressings that work on plan, and then a lot of them don't. So you have to check to make sure there's no added oils, fats, or sweeteners in it other than stevia. And a couple of them do work. Simple girl dressings work much better because they're all on plan. Carol Mabry, no, you said Dr. Berg and 2 others, but missed those. Shift and Ultima, along with Dr. Berg's electrolytes. Carol, yep. Charity, hi coach. I recently came across Hyper-Ketosis diet and want to try. Is half and half allowed in coffee? It is not. I've done keto before. Is this similar to keto? So you get into ketosis in hyper-ketosis, but it's a completely different route to get there. So in a traditional ketogenic diet, it's a high-fat diet. In hyper-ketosis, it's a low-fat diet and high fiber. The fiber regulates the sugar that's released into your bloodstream enough that you can get into a low to mid-grade ketosis. You're not in as deep as traditional keto diet, but instead of burning the fats and oils that you're ingesting and eating, you're burning the fats and oils in your body because you're not eating any fats and oils. So it's a very different way to get there. Great question though. And yeah, no creamers at all in coffee. But there is, if on Amazon, there's a new naturals cocoa syrup that's delicious in coffee. It makes it taste creamier and sweeter, and I like that a lot in the coffee. So if that's something that you need for your coffee, new naturals cocoa syrup, and you can get it on Amazon. So yeah, great question. Let's talk about exercise. I do not recommend exercise at all. When I lost 70 pounds, I didn't. There were 2 times I played basketball very lightly. I jogged up and down the court and put up a couple of shots, but not much. Carol, thanks. You're welcome. There was also once that I tried to do like some really light weightlifting, and it was really light and it was meaningless. Like I'm kind of addicted to the gym, so that's why it was hard for me. That's why I did that, but it didn't really do anything. If you want to gain muscle, and I recommend that you do strength training in phase 2, in maintenance mode, not in phase 1. There's a reason why bodybuilders have a cutting and a bulking phase, because the body likes to do one or the other really quickly. But if you do them both at the same time, it slows them both down. So if you want to get rid of fat, just do that. If you want to gain muscle, just do that. So phase 1, you'd be getting rid of fat. Phase 2, you'd be gaining muscle. Here's the thing about exercise. You can exercise. It's okay to exercise if it doesn't cause any soreness in your body. That soreness is an indication that you've created some micro tears in your muscles and there's going to be some inflammation involved. That's what you don't want, because your body's going to focus on that before it gets rid of your fat. So take things easy. If you want to do some yoga, if you want to do a little swimming, if you want to do something really, really light, go for it. That's not that big of a deal. Just be careful. That's all. Carol Mabry, in another video, you spoke about something that cost $10. What was that? That's HK Living. So that's a membership site I created. So I have all of these tools like the food list and the cookbook and the checklist and this like a coaching call like this. Those are all in there. So normally the food list is $10 and the cookbook's $40 and the checklist is $20. And so there's all these things that add up to probably $200. And you can just have that as a part of the membership. If you go to, let's see, you can go to stan.store/hyper-ketosis. stan.store/hyper-ketosis. Can I put that in the chat? Maybe I can. Hold on. Then you can go to, yeah, there you go. Then you can click on HK Living. And that has everything in there. And I do these videos in there, these live videos, every single week on Mondays to make sure that I get the coaching. This is why I'm answering everybody's questions. This is why I want to make sure you guys are absolutely covered in every way you can be covered. You have the accountability that you need, you have the coaching you need, you have the food list, you have the recipes, all of that stuff. So highly recommend signing up for that product, HK Living. You can sign up for everything else individually, but it's just going to cost you more. So, great questions, you guys. Let's talk about weekends. So this morning I had a coaching call with some clients, and she said weekends were the hardest for her because they would go out to eat, and she's expected to go out to eat at restaurants. So at a restaurant, this is what you do. You tell your server, hey, I have a medical condition. I can't have any added oils or fats or sweeteners. And they'll tell the chef, and they'll make it without oils or fats or sweeteners. It's a really easy way. And what I do is I like to go to steakhouses or Mexican restaurants. Mexican restaurants can make some really good salads, like a steak salad or a chicken salad. At a steak restaurant, I'll get a filet mignon with a bunch of steamed vegetables and maybe a salad. And maybe a dry red wine. A dry red wine can take the place of your fruit for that meal. So that should help you with going out to eat and making your weekends easier. Charity, how much is the membership per month? So it's $10 to begin with, but then it's like $69 a month, something like that. So it's still really relatively inexpensive, especially that you're getting coaching. So, great questions. Let me think. Weekends, eating out. Um, yeah. When we get into phase 3, once you've lost all the weight, you're going to understand your body a lot better because you've gone through hyper-ketosis, sometimes several times. And you kind of understand your body a bit better, and you can create the strategy that you need to accomplish the big goal that you're trying to accomplish. That's really the biggest thing. And that's what's going to keep the weight off, is you're going to understand your body in a much better way. So understanding your body and how it reacts to things, bodies in general will react to certain things in very similar ways. However, our preferences differ vastly. So sometimes someone really loves green beans, another person really hates green beans. And so that person who loves green beans, great, eat a lot of green beans. The person who hates green beans, don't eat green beans. That's why we go through this, and this is why you have the checklist, so that you can mark down every day and you understand what your body is, what you like and what you don't like, and what your body responds to and what it doesn't respond to, what works and what doesn't work. So, yeah, this is a lifelong journey for some people, but really this should only take a month or two to really start understanding your body in a big way so that you can start creating a strategy for the rest of your life. And I've never had a client gain back their weight when they stick to the plan. It's pretty simple. It's super simple, honestly. Just start to understand your body, right? Okay. So I'm trying to get on here every single Monday at noon and stay on here for about 15 minutes. I'm going a little bit over, but I want to make sure that I answer any questions that you guys have. So I'm going to stay on for just a few more minutes in case you guys have more questions, and I will answer them as best I can. This is live every single week in HK Living. I do put this on YouTube every once in a while so that people can kind of get a view into what I'm doing in these calls. However, this time it's on YouTube. Next time it'll be on Zoom in a closed loop. So only people who are signed up for HK Living can be a part of these lives. And I appreciate everybody joining me on here. I have a lot of fun on TikTok a lot of times doing lives. And today I get to do this for a lot of clients, coaching clients and people in HK Living and things. So I enjoy this part of what I do, mostly because I'm really trying to make a massive difference in people's lives. The accountability and the information and getting people excited about losing the weight is really what I want to do. And you guys, I just had a client lose more than 60 pounds in 40 days. I have one client who I recently helped reverse their type 2 diabetes. I've helped several women recently get over their PCOS and Hashimoto's. This just works. It works for everybody. The lady that lost the least amount of weight that I've coached, she's 70 years old and she lost 16 pounds. And it was a massive, massive deal for her. It was a big deal. And I've never had anyone fail to lose weight once they stuck to plan. So, okay, guys, thank you for joining today. I appreciate it. I'm going to stay on for just another minute, just in case you have any more questions. I want to make sure to answer any questions that you have. Because, it's a simple program. And let me go over the program again really quickly. In order to lose 30 pounds in 40 days on average, you have an 8-hour eating window for 40 days. During those 8 hours, you eat 2 meals. Each of those meals, you have 1 serving of protein, 1 serving of fruit, and 3 or more servings of vegetables until you're full. You don't cook with oils or fats or sweeteners except for stevia, and you don't work out in any way that causes inflammation in your body. That's basically it. That's what you do for 40 days. Then you go into phase 2, which is maintenance mode. And in maintenance, you do a traditional keto diet, which is high fat and low carb. And once you've lost all the weight you want to lose, then you go into phase 3, which is intentional living. You have a big audacious goal. You create strategies to get yourself to that big audacious goal. Once you get there, you create another big audacious goal. So this is about living intentionally for your health, for your life. Look, the biggest way I can teach people to be free in their lives is to be free in their own bodies. Feel good about your body, and you should feel good right now in your body. It doesn't matter what your weight is, doesn't matter what your height is, it doesn't matter how you feel you look. Find something to really cherish about your body. Charity, thank you for answering the questions. I'll prepare my brain and start. You're awesome. I'm excited for you, Charity. Okay, guys, let's do this. This is going to be fun. Man, I always love starting new people out on this because it just works. It just works. All right, guys, have a great day. Transform your body, transform your life. You got this.